So, let me get one thing out of the way first. I apologize for my audio quality in the Let's Plays recently. I'm not sure what caused some of those issues, but the audio sounded really bad for most of everything that I recorded lately, and I'm not sure as to why. The microphone was not that close. It's about as far away as it is now, from what I'm recording now, so I'm not sure what happened there. But I'm going to try and keep an eye on it better, so hopefully this doesn't happen again. Savvy? Savvy. Alright, let's get the show on the road. Mario RPG was a collaboration between Squaresoft and Nintendo to make the ultimate SNES game of all time. Mario meets Final Fantasy, the juggernaut. This was all before Square Enix decided to, kind of stab Nintendo in the back and switch over to PlayStation with Final Fantasy VII, but that's a story for another day. For now, let's focus on this game. Mario RPG is literally a JRPG for the plumber, the first of its kind for Mario, and one of the first spin-off games Mario has ever had. Other than being a plumber and other than being a platformer. The first was technically pinball, though, if I recall. I mean, he was in the pinball game. It wasn't a Mario pinball game, though. And the first major one would be Mario Kart. And feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But it does make sense. Mario was everywhere at the time. He still technically is, but RPG was still an interesting idea at the time. This was the first JRPG I ever played, which is also very interesting. Naturally, I wasn't the greatest at reading, so my child brain didn't really understand stat layouts. I was using weaker weapons oftentimes because they looked cool, skipping as many battles as I could, and used absolutely no armor at all. I also didn't use much in the way of healing magic because, playing as Princess Peach, that was for girls. I was a manly man, and I was, 7 years old, so I didn't know any better. So there I am doing a challenge run with only Mario having the best weapon and an army of pick-me-ups. Because of this, I toted that this was one of the hardest games ever made. Naturally, I understand the importance of armor and stats now, so this game is kind of a breeze compared to something like Final Fantasy VI or even Pokemon. Regardless, I absolutely loved the game. Couldn't play it worth a crap, but the charm and the unusual designs were amazing to me as a kid. So let's take on the gang of metal-based baddies, torturous bird people, dragons, Booster, and whatever else. Let's take on Smithy! So the game starts out like any other Mario game. Mario goes to rescue the princess because she was kidnapped right outside Mario's house. Mario proceeds to make short work of Bowser's thugs and fights Bowser in record time. After some puzzle solving, Mario defeats Bowser and works his way to rescuing the princess when a giant space sword stabs through Bowser's castle. Mario is sent rocketing out of the castle and goes back to try and find the princess, but the sword says that Smithy is here and wants to take over the world. Then the bridge is broken, so Mario can no longer get to Bowser's castle. Toad suggests going back to the Mushroom Kingdom to inform the Chancellor, and away Mario goes while stomping baddies. Once the Chancellor is told, Mario meets a tadpole outside named Mallow. Mallow cries and the entire sky cries too, and Mallow is obviously having some issues. Mallow's frog coin was stolen by a thief, and since Mario has nothing better to do, he teams up with Mallow and beat the stuffing out of said thief. And if you've ever played the game, you know how valuable frog coins actually are. When the duo head back to the kingdom, however, it has been overrun by a bunch of evil Shy Guys on pogo sticks. Mario and Mallow fight into the castle and fight this weird guy by the name of Mac. After destroying the bad guy, obviously based on a sword, Mario collects a big colorful star, as you naturally do, and the two head off to meet Mallow's grandpa, Frog Fuchsius. After going through the sewers and fighting a monster named Balome, Mallow and Mario meet the old frog to learn a few things. First, Smithy is evil. Haha, shocker. Second, the star probably has something to do with wishes and something called Star Road. Third, Mallow's not a tadpole, which, yeah, that one's not shocking at all. The duo head to Rosetown nearby to find everyone frozen thanks to a curse of arrows. It's basically a bunch of arrows being shot from the forest. After staying in a nearby inn and meeting a kid who really likes toys, including a Mario toy, and then Mario gets knocked out by said toys, one of his toys, named Geno, comes to life and heads into the forest alone. Mario and Mallow naturally follow. Eventually, the team find the bow-based baddie, and he's the one who's freezing people, and the group take him out very promptly. They get a star for this too. After freeing Rosetown, the team, now adding Geno, heads straight to Moville and find out another star smashed into the mines. Geno naturally wants to find these as he's a star warrior trying to rebuild Star Road, which is indeed the thing granting people wishes in this world. Smithy's sword smashed through the formation of stars and scattered them all over the place, so finding them is pretty important. However, Mario would have probably headed into the mine anyway. When the star hit the mine, it trapped a few children in the mine and blocked off the entrances. Mario heads in hoping to find the kids because he's a hero after all. After a bout with Croc again, the thief who stole Mallow's frog coin, Mario and the gang find Punchello. He's a mad bomber who is here for... I'm not sure, actually. He's wiped out by his own bomb, so I guess he won't be remembered very much. Luckily, the star itself saves the gang. In the next room, Mario finds the kids and rescues them with some minecart racing. Next up, Booster's Tower. Mario finds Bowser outside, crying over his lost castle, and the group quickly discover that Princess Peach is stuck in the tower. Bowser quickly joins the group as they storm in looking for Princess Peach. After fighting some literal clowns, the group chase Booster to Marrymore. Booster takes off with Peach to a chapel hoping to marry her. Bowser and Mario burst in to stop the wedding. Then the group fight off the giant wedding cake. And no, that's not a joke, the wedding cake comes to life and has some pretty nasty spell work. After fighting it enough, Booster eats the damn thing and takes off. Peach eventually joins the party. Afterwards, the team just find a star hanging around a place called Star Hill and then enter the weird-as-hell seaside town, learning that another star is nearby. The star is in the ocean. It landed in a pirate ship, actually. The team entered the ship and wipe out ghosts and a giant squid before eventually finding Jonathan Jones. Jones is a shark pirate and an honorable fighter. He fights Mario but is defeated and the crew head back to Seaside Town. Oops, looks like all the toads here are actually fake. They torture the real toads until you give them the star, only for their ride to not show up and Mario to fight the spear-like minion of Smithy. Next up, time to head in some weird ruins and fight Belome again. After some weird cloning experiments, thanks to Belome, the team continue on. Mario eventually heads to a town of retired monsters and learns the best place to look for stars is obviously in the sky. He climbs some cliff sides and fights a big piranha plant. After that, the team climbs some vines and end up in the sky. The Cloud City, to be specific. The team hears that Prince Mallow has been found and is marrying some bird-like lady. Mallow is also a fat bird himself. Shocking, since the people of this land are cloud-looking people that all kind of look like Mallow. From your party. After some exploration, the team finds a statue of the King of Nimbus Land when he was younger, and surprise, he's a dead ringer for Mallow. From your party, that is. Turns out Mallow is indeed in your party, and he is the real prince of this land. The team work together to take out the bird lady and her large minion and free Mallow's parents. Afterwards, in a stroke of good luck, Mallow's parents actually mention seeing a star landing in a nearby volcano. The team head inside and find a biker toad and a dragon. The team slay the dragon, only for the Power Rangers, the Axem Rangers, to come in and steal the star, taking off to their airship called the Blade. Mario and the team fight the Rangers, only for the ship to become a robotic Zord of some type, and, well, the team just kind of wipe him out too. With the final star obviously being in Bowser's castle, the team take a cloud bus to the castle itself and invade, beating up Bowser's old minions. After a long fight and a fight with a random samurai, weird to say, eventually the group face off with the hilt of Exor, the big-ass sword in Bowser's castle. After a particularly tough fight, they beat it up and it eats the entire team, sending them to Smithy's world, a dark, desolate factory-like building with, a lot of minions, and remaking the boss fights from before. The team go deeper into the factory, wiping out managers until they meet Smithy, the demented Santa-looking fiend who's making all the weapon-based baddies. The team fight long and hard, but eventually Smithy's defeated for good, and they collect the final star, which was, stuck to his chest. Geno leaves, Bowser gets his castle back, Booster gets married, and Mallow is a prince. The gang have a parade, and it's a happy ending. The character writing is fantastic, with Mallow learning confidence, Bowser trying not to admit that he sees Mario more as a friendly rival than an enemy, and Geno, who's just as stoic as ever. The characters, like Smithy, Booster, and the Bird Lady, are all comical but serious at the same time, and overall, the characters are super fun in this game. I say that because overall, the story may seem overly simple, and it is for a JRPG that's somewhat inspired by Final Fantasy, but it is also inspired by Mario. Still, I love the story and I love the writing here. And I also love the way this game looks. I know the style of 3D turn sprite doesn't really hold up here as well as it does in, say, Donkey Kong Country, but I still think it works overall. And overall, the environments look amazing. I love the monster designs in this game, and I think the characters all look great. Here's a nice detail. Toads from different towns will have different spots or stripes on their head. That's awesome. Mario looks fantastic, and while he's a silent protagonist, he will still talk to people, dressing up and acting out other characters when he has a story to tell. Another detail I love is Booster's design. It felt like he was supposed to be Wario, but come to find out he was a mix of Wario and Sid from Final Fantasy IV. Smithy's gang all look like weapons of some type as well. Sword, spear, axe, bow, and even Exor, which is a big longsword. Smithy himself actually hammers his gang into existence, so it makes sense that they're all weapons out of, a forge or something like that. This is great. The locations look amazing too. The battlegrounds look great, the caves look amazing. I love the settings of this game. Smithy's world just looks destroyed and depressing, but that works for his character. And the music. I may be nostalgic for it, but man, the battle themes, the town themes, the forest maze track, which is the most popular one. I love all the music from this game. My favorite Final Fantasy battle track I actually heard here for the first time during a secret boss fight. My favorite track is indeed the one, from Forest Maze. Yeah, I know, it's blatant, but it's Forest Maze. Come on, how can you not love that tune? Seriously. However, navigating the Forest Maze kind of sucks really hard. I hate the game being in an isometric view during the entire game. Why? Mario doesn't move with the environment very well. You press down, he moves straight down. He doesn't move diagonally down like the entire world map does. This is very annoying, especially throwing platforming into the mix. Yeah, this game, while not a platformer, does include plenty of platforming elements into the game since, you play as Mario. You can jump around the area, run, but jumping on platforms that are going diagonal, the controller seems to want to fight you on this so hard. When you are walking and exploring, it isn't too bad, but even then, I'd argue Mario's movements aren't as precise enough for certain things. It works, but it sucks. However, the combat works just fine. You hit an enemy and end up in a turn-based arena of sorts. Menu navigation is a pain, though. Who designed this crap? If you want to do a special move, they mapped it to the Y button. Okay, you press the Y button to open up the special attacks menu when it's your character's turn. No problem there, right? Now you select the move and you want to press A, right? Because, that's the selection button. No! You have to press Y yet again. This isn't how menus normally work, and this isn't very intuitive as other games. Mostly because other games have you just press A after the fact. No, you press A, you back out of the menu. Great. You want to use an item? You have to press X. Then select the item and press X again instead of A. I closed out menus all the damn time. Yes, pressing A will close out most menus in general, as it is wanting to go back and open up your regular attack menu. When you do an attack, you can use the buttons to make your attacks stronger. Specialize you pressing the Y button with good timing or very repeatedly or holding it. Normal attacks will work with the A button and very good timing. The battles themselves have you pick 3 characters to fight after you get Geno. Because, before that you only have 2 characters. You can, have any other characters in your party, but Mario has to be in the lineup, which kind of sucks. Mallow is a mage-like character, Geno boosts other characters and has decent specials. Bowser's a physical attacker, while Peach is a healer. You can change weapons, accessories, and armor around to boost stats. It's pretty simple stuff, honestly. Enemies and boss fights all have a pretty similar strategy. Some are physical, while others are magic users, but nothing will be too shocking, it's all really simple. Jonathan Jones, Mac, and a few other boss fights are more physical, but most of the bosses are magic users. Bowyer is physical, but he shuts off one of your buttons every so often, while the spear guy, I can't pronounce his name for the life of me, uses a lot of magic and will duplicate himself. The bird girl as well as the dragon are straight magic users, and the Axem Rangers use different physical and magical moves depending on their colors. The boss fights aren't difficult, but they are varied enough to stand out just a bit. As for level navigation, it's all pretty straightforward, other than, not being straight or forward. I think probably getting to Monster Town is the most difficult puzzle in the entire game. Everything else is pretty linear to navigate. Some levels even have stars to use to, wipe out and gain existence from longer rooms. I'm just going to keep this in here because that's an absolute typo. But when I say wipe out, I mean wipe out the room of monsters. It's a star. It's an invincibility star. And you can just run into enemies, and instead of going into the battle they die. But you gain experience for this. I mean, holy crap. Overall, nothing is too crazy, technically. I say technically because, again, you do fight a giant-ass wedding cake. It's a standard magic user with candle blowing out gimmick at first, but it's still a giant cake. Balone will clone your characters, but bashing them and Balone works in the end. Smithy will reform his own head and use different attacks, but you can just keep punching away. Nothing is too stressful here, but hey! While it might be easier than most JRPGs, at least there isn't some super broken equipment, right? Right? Alright, yeah, there's absolutely some broken things you can get in the game. If you get soil and water for a vine in Rose Town, you can get Mario's best weapon, the Lazy Shell. You can also get armor, also called the Lazy Shell, which you can put on any party member. It lowers the attack stat something fierce, but it raises defense and special defense to insane amounts. You put it on somebody like, Princess Peach, who's the healer of the group and not really the biggest attacker anyway, and you may as well break the game. Nothing is taking her out save for a few auto KO spells. This allows her to focus on healing from larger attacks. You can also get some cool stuff from optional boss fights like Jinx and Culex, both of which are in Monster Town, oddly enough. Jinx runs the dojo and has a few fights before giving you his belt that boosts attacks. Beware, he's small, but he hits like a freight train. But Culex is indeed a beast. Even with Peach and the shell, this fight was tough. I basically stalled out his magic to the point where he and his crystals couldn't cast magic anymore. Not the best strategy, but I suppose it works. You can also play a lot of minigames like Yoshi Racing, Minecart Racing, collecting coins on a river, and even platforming, all for rare items. There's a large number of frog coins and invisible chests too. I never spent any of the frog coins, but you can, again, get some broken equipment from this. Yeah, there's a lot of secrets to uncover, a cameo from Link or Samus, and plenty to do even after beating Smithy. This game is great for this kind of stuff. There is so much to do and explore in this game, it will keep anybody busy who likes the game for some time. Overall, Mario RPG is a fun game. However, going into it, it is easily a beginner RPG at its core, and if you aren't looking for that, this may not work. This is Pokemon levels of simple, possibly even more so. Hardcore RPG fans may not find much here if you aren't already a fan of the plumber. However, being as I am a fan of the plumber, I do enjoy the game a lot. The story is fun, the charm is fantastic, and the levels are decently paced, and the side quests are worthwhile. Honestly, the gameplay is indeed my biggest complaint. That and the menu navigation is a pain, but even then it still works. The platforming just kinda sucks. I'm not a big fan of isometric views in video games, mostly because the controls don't change to match the view up. Up should not move Mario directly up when the entire level is based diagonally. Still, I'd say the game is amazing. Simple, yes, but fun overall as long as you're aware that it's a very simple and somewhat easy JRPG. 9 out of 10 for me. It's like Kirby. Yes, Kirby is so simple it makes Mario's movements seem overly complicated in platforming games, but Kirby is still a fun platforming game. That's sort of how I see this game into the grand scheme of things. Regardless, I suppose after tackling this game, I'm going to have to hit Paper Mario up now. I've played the first 3 games a few times, and I'm aware of how this game inspired those, but the last 3 Paper Mario games I've never touched before. Oh well, maybe I'll play them as a Let's Play. I guess we'll see. They are longer games after all. Or not. Either way, that's all the time I have for this month of Mario. Sorry I only managed to get 3 reviews in, but Mario Sunshine took a little longer to do 100% than I'd hoped. Still, I plan on doing 2 videos for that game this year, so I'm not completely finished with the plumber for this season. And I'm also probably going to tackle new Super Mario Bros. For the Wii as well, so there's that. But next, I think I'm going to move on to another platforming legend, Sonic the Hedgehog. Who knows, maybe I'll take on Pokemon for a bit too. If you liked the video, please leave a like, comment, or even subscribe. And if you have issues with the video, please let me know. I'm still working out audio bugs after all. Until next time, my minions, take care.